John with Frequency555.com. We are lucky enough to have an interview today with Michael Oshman of the Green Restaurant Association. He's invited us here in Boston to take a look at what they've got going on in the office. So, Mike, take it away. Tell us a little bit about what Green Restaurant Association is doing exactly.
Right. The Green Restaurant Association was founded 20 years ago actually in San Diego. It's a nonprofit organization that has the mission of greening the entire industry in both the United States and Canada. And we've also been getting some interesting inquiries from around the world over the past few years. And what we do is we actually help the restaurants go through a series of environmental steps in 7 categories, from energy and water to chemicals and packaging, green building, and also food, including also waste reduction, recycling, and composting. And each one of those categories has a plethora of steps within it. So we actually go to the restaurants anywhere from major governmental organizations to major corporations such as Microsoft, to your small mom and pop in California or New York, to your famous restaurateurs such as Rick Bayless or Bar Vitale. And these restaurants are now in 36 states and also Canada. And where these restaurants differ than other restaurants who are doing something here and there is every one of these restaurants, when you see certified green restaurant, you don't ask yourself the question of, what are they doing? You can go onto our website, you click on the level of the certification, you know exactly how many points. It brings up a green points label that looks like a certificate, that looks like a nutrition label. It talks about all the points that they've achieved in each category. And then for the die-hard green consumer, you can actually click another button and see every single step the restaurant has done. And so in this age of the necessity of transparency, where the Federal Trade Commission just came out this week and said green claims should not be ambiguous. Not only should they not, but they cannot be, and we're issuing these guidelines so that they can counter all the greenwashing going on. So saying, hey, we're a responsible business, or hey, we try to do this, it doesn't mean anything because it's not substantiated.
And it's a lot of that.
And it's pervasive. And some of it is coming from a good place, and some of it is coming from a place that
it's like they're jumping on the bandwagon and trying to get people in the door.
And what we say to them is, good, jump on the bandwagon, but jump on the train to the direction you're wanting to go, not the train that's going to be a dead end, and you're going to find, wait, I should have just waited for the next train and done it right. And so what we encourage businesses to do is do it, but measure yourself against the Green Restaurant Association standards. Meet a mark, such as a 2-star, 3-star, or 4-star. Have your steps be verified by an outside organization. And because it's not what you're doing every day, get the help of the experts to help you. So you don't try to buy the best packaging and you end up buying the compostable packaging that gets thrown into the garbage at your restaurant versus the one you should be buying, which is the high post-consumer waste one. Whereas for the restaurant over here, they should be buying the compostable packaging because in their area, the residents are composting it. But it's a nuanced world. When you go to a restaurant that says organic and local whenever possible, what does that mean? To this restaurant, it means that you are getting 1% of your food that's organic and local. And this one, it's 50%. That one, it's 99%. And that's the problem with self-claims. And according to a recent Technomics survey, only 6% of the consumers out there trust when a business says, hey, look what we're doing. 94% trust when it's an outside organization, but an outside organization that they trust. If it's an outside organization they don't trust, forget it. But if it's a nonprofit environmental organization that they trust has the good intention of what they're about, then consumers are willing to believe it, such as organic certification and most others. So we're really entering into the era where when we started 20 years ago, the idea was just to get people interested. Well, 79% of consumers want to dine green according to this Technomics survey. Now it's just making it so that there's a market for the consumers to be able to do that. And thankfully, we're finding that the businesses that really want to do it are contacting us and are doing this, from the big to the small. And those that there's still some businesses that are, not jumping on board in the way that they should, but even those are calling us back 2 years later and say, okay, we tried it on our own. We realize consumers want transparency. We realize we're not the experts, we need help. So I trust, because this is a consumer-driven movement, and people like yourself and people like me, I've been doing this for 20 years, and those 79% of people, they care about this because they really it's meaningful to them. They really want climate change issues to cease and for us to get into places of sustainability around waste and around food. And because it's coming from a sincere place, they want to put their money where their mouth is. And so therefore, in a good way, they have been and will only increasingly hold businesses accountable. And so that's what makes this whole movement exciting.
Your website, we've checked out the website numerous times. It seems if you want to find a green restaurant, it's right there. You have a wonderful directory on there. You even have a search tab where you can look for what you're looking for by state or by category, type of food. Very user-friendly for both consumers and for the restaurateurs who are looking how to make this process happen for them.
Right, absolutely.
Which is great. Now, is there any, like, a little anecdote you can tell us about how maybe this is helping businesses that are jumping on board and getting the certification? Are they seeing an increase in revenues, or is it how is this helping businesses?
I mean, just to give an example, in the past week, you could just search Green Restaurant Association with quotes around it, go to news, and just in the past week we've had a handful of media hits just in the past 4 days. And that's just this week. And that's just from some very small restaurants. So we literally had thousands of media hits, all the way up from when Al Gore won the Nobel Peace Prize, and I got a call from NBC Nightly News saying, okay, Michael, you and I have been talking for 5 years, you're ready for your story. And we were filming 3 or 4 hours later at a restaurant, and we were 20 seconds of the 2-minute story that night of Al Gore winning the Nobel Peace Prize. So all the way from there to CNN, to New York Times, to Washington Post, to Wall Street Journal, down to what most restaurants care about, which is their small newspaper right in their town, because that's what their consumers are reading, to everything in between. So that's one really big benefit, is that for being good, the restaurants really are being rewarded, and then the consumers get to see it in the media, and the consumers get to then spend their money there. A local restaurant here in Brookline called The Fireplace, that's been a certified green restaurant for probably about maybe 5 years now, 6 years, and they got rid of their bottled water. Everybody started talking about bottled water a couple of years ago, and what's the main concern of a business? Losing revenue. What did they do? They got a whole filtration system where you can still bottle it right there. So they get the tap water, they filter it, they can put the bubbles in it, they can put it still in a fancy bottle and put it in front of you so you still feel like you're getting that nice thing, it tastes good. But instead of you paying $3, you're now paying $1 or $1.50. So you're saving money. You're getting water that literally is probably just as clean, if not cleaner, than the bottled water, and no packaging to be thrown away or recycled, no transportation on the disposal side or bringing it to the restaurant, and you're not trucking all this heavy water. So you're doing a great environmental thing, but everybody watching this knows that. The interesting thing about this story is this restaurant is making about 4 times the amount of profit as they were before. Now the reason is they did a good job. They put it right on the table, it's telling a story, there's a sign on it, and what's their cost? Cost is nothing, so they're charging less, but the profit margin is much greater. So I love this story because it's a great example that you could easily make an argument if we can't do that. How you're expecting me to get rid of that whole line item of my revenue because of saving the earth? Forget it! I'm sure businesses have said that. But what we've argued all along is if you do it right, you will be rewarded. And not only will you be rewarded, but if you don't do anything, you actually have a disadvantage. Look at this restaurant. He's making more money than the restaurant across the street off of water. Who's the better business person? And who's the better steward? And who do the consumers want to go to? So it's kind of a win-win if it's done right.
Well, thank you for talking to us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Is there a website that the viewers could visit?
Yes, you can go to dinegreen.com, and if you are a resident of New York City, you go to dinegreennyc.com, and if you live in Chicago, you can go to dinegreenchicago.com. And there's all sorts of great tools to teach you not only which restaurants are certified green restaurants, but also how to dine green in general, other things you could do around packaging, around dining locally. So we have a nice section on our website that helps consumers go green, and we have these wonderful suggestion cards that you can carry in your wallet and encourages restaurants to go green. So we're doing a lot of consumer activist stuff too.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again for talking to us.
My pleasure. Thank you.